Hey everybody, Brian back with you from the Horror Experience, continuing on with horror sci-fi series, of which I am going to include some superhero stuff too, that I will kind of throw into the sci-fi category. Um, I wanted to start off first with an interesting thing I'm finding out. I don't know how many people were aware of the disc rot issue that Warner Brothers had experienced with with releases of a lot of the series that they had released, and unfortunately, I did get some of that, but not a lot. I know that the golden collection from Looney Tunes got affected with disc rot, which means the discs won't play, or they hang up, freeze, that kind of thing. You'll notice if you look at the disc, you'll get like a swirling or a discoloration on it. Luckily, I got my set of Looney Tunes after that, so I escaped it. Also, a lot of Super Friends series collections got affected, and luckily I haven't found anything. Mainly, I think it was the challenge of the Super Friends, where they have the mushroom thing at, where the villains have the mushroom meeting room type thing out in the middle of the swamp and that kind of deal. The second season and the first season had both been affected, but mine played, so I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. I hope that, this is apparently something that happens over time. It's not like right away. I mean, it might be years, and your discs might start having issues, or you'll see discolorations in the discs. Anyway, my Tales from the Crypt, which is not on the list of affected series, but Warner Brothers did put this out. They were using a company out of Pennsylvania at the time that was apparently cutting corners somehow. I'm not sure exactly what the circumstances were, but whatever they were doing to make the discs was not getting it, and they were probably trying to save money and not using whatever it is they do to preserve the plastic, or whatever it is they do to keep the discs from having any kind of disc rot. First of all, you don't want to ever have your discs exposed. Always have them in their cases, and some stuff I've actually put in bags. Collections like, and I'll show you just as an example. Oh. Like Poultrygeist, I've actually bagged it, and it's because of the way that the packaging is. The packaging is open on the ends, and dust and dirt and stuff gets in there. I had to dust the discs, because when you have as many movies as I have, things get dirty because they sit around, and so you're constantly cleaning. But this will prevent, from oxygen and dirt and dust and bugs or whatever getting inside of your disc. So I just use sandwich bags, and I just put the discs inside, or the whole thing inside of it, to protect it from getting any problems. And usually it's just because of the manufacturing. They leave everything wide open, which to me, this is supposed to be a collector's set, and they don't build it. They don't make it so that it'll last, They make it wide open so that the dirt and everything else can get to the discs. And so with stuff like that, I always make sure to add a little extra layer of protection to it, Also, some early Blu-ray cases, and the old Blockbuster cases that have the hole in the bottom of them, and I know I've talked about this before, I plug all that up, or I bag them. Just bag them. just to protect them, for that extra protection. It keeps bugs out of there, and it keeps dust out of there and everything else. But anyway, the Tales from the Crypt might have been infected. I had problems with season 1. I'm sorry, that's season 7. With season 1 and season 2. Initially, it wouldn't even play. I mean, the player just absolutely didn't even recognize the disc. And I mean, that was after loading it several times. It just didn't recognize it. Finally, I got it to play, and then it got stuck on the very last episode on the disc. So when you went down the menu and hit the last episode, it just wouldn't play it. What it did, it would skip over to the first episode. And on season 1, it wasn't going to the menu. I mean, you weren't even seeing the Warner Brothers logo come up at the beginning. You didn't see the intro with the crypt, going into the crypt house, the house for the crypt keeper's house and all that. It just went right to the first episode. You had no menu. You couldn't go to the special features, nothing. So, but I finally got it. To work. So I don't know whether it's disc rot or not. I'm seeing a little discoloration, but I think it might have been because at one time some of these discs might have gotten wet, and it was a long time ago. But anyway, so I was a little concerned about that. But they're playing now, and I'm going to check the third disc on season 2, see how that goes. And then I'm going to check the rest of them. I mean, if it takes all night, I'm just going to have to do it. Alright, now, back to the series that I wanted to cover. And, of course, that was Night Gallery. Now, I know I did a short on it, but Night Gallery ran 3 seasons. It was an actual total of 43 episodes. But when you get the discs in, when you get all three seasons in, and you count all of the episodes, you're going to get over 50. There's over 50 episodes. And the reason being is because there was some episodes from another release that was called The Sixth Sense. And then also there were some episodes that had been lost. Whether or not they had ever aired, I don't know. But they were re-included on the discs. So season 1 and 2 and 3, I think, had some lost episodes that were reintroduced. So that adds to your number. But initially it was 43. But it's actually 50 plus episodes. I have to do a recount again, but it's well over 43. So but anyway, it did run from 1969 to 1973. Very fun series. It was definitely more horror macabre related than the Twilight Zone was. The Twilight Zone was more science fiction, kind of other dimension, sci-fi stuff. Where this was really based more on horror and scary stuff. So, and that's the reason why I like this so much, was because it was more horror related, and that intro always scared me as a kid, and that's what got me hooked on it too. But these come with their own discs, their own trays. These are very nice sets. This was the first release. I don't know if they've re-released these or not. They might have re-released them in a full the full series in a box. I don't know. I haven't seen it. It might be out there somewhere. I haven't looked. Season 1 and Season 2 are both pretty good sized seasons. Lots of material on here. Lots of special features. It also has historian commentary. History on the show, and some stuff about Rod Serling, of course. And this was the 3rd season, which came in this regular old box, and it was definitely a less important to them, obviously, but it was only a 2-disc series, or a 2-disc season. But it was, I think they knew things were coming to a close, so they just kind of rushed through it. But somebody asked me the other day whatever happened to the paintings from the Night Gallery, and after some research, I researched it a long time ago, and you'll get different answers. Different people have different opinions as to what happened to all of the paintings, but I can guarantee you that most all of them are in the hands of private collectors. I know that after the show ended, all the paintings got stored away at Universal. And later on, I think they were rediscovered and they were handed out to people. There were a lot of people, I don't even think they paid for them. I think they just got them free. You'll see a lot of copies rolling around going to auction and stuff, and you'll see them on eBay and everything else. But you just got to be really careful with that, because don't spend tons and tons of money on fakes, because there's a lot of them going around. And but I think most of the pictures are just spread out amongst private collectors. Somebody had mentioned that they were all destroyed, and why they would do that is, I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I think they all ended up in private collectors' hands, and I think a lot of people that got a hold of them probably didn't really. You might even find a copy of one, or you might even find an actual authentic Night Gallery painting at a yard sale, because somebody doesn't know what they have. You'd be surprised that when that stuff like that happens, they don't know that they've got a $100,000 painting and they're selling it for $5 in a yard sale or at a thrift shop or something. But it has to be authentic. Somebody has to come in and authenticate it and make sure that it's the real thing, because there's so much crap going around. Anyway, great series. Definitely recommended if you like a good horror series. It was made for TV again, so it's not going to be like Tales from the Crypt that had, the cussing and gore and all of that. But it's still fun, and of course it's classic with Rod Serling. After he finished up Twilight Zone, he went on to do Night Gallery. And he was also set up to do the narration for the In Search Of show. But he had passed away, and Leonard Nimoy took it over, which I'm glad in a way. I'm not glad he passed away. I'm just glad Leonard Nimoy did the voice, because I thought his voice was perfect for that, Or maybe you just don't know it. I mean, Rod probably would have been perfect too. He just would have never known, otherwise. But Leonard did a great job on that. But anyway, The Night Gallery from 1969 to 1973, over 50 episodes, including stuff that came from The Sixth Sense, which was another series that included their stuff in with The Night Gallery, and I think some of it was written by Rod. And also there were lost episodes that, whether or not they aired or not, I don't know, that ended up on the disc, so they re-included some of these lost shorts, and some of them are very short. There's a vampire one in there that I think is 10 minutes or something. But anyway, The Night Gallery. Alright guys, I'll be back with some more stuff, and we'll see you in a bit.